Partners in life, lovers of adventure, their passports bulged with stamps from every corner of the world. They craved new experiences, new cultures, but their greatest love was reserved for capturing beauty. John, a master of light and composition, sought the perfect angle. Together, they wove tales of their travels through stunning photographs, landscapes from Iceland, bustling markets in Morocco. Their bags were always packed, their cameras always ready. They were happiest when exploring the unknown. Their apartment walls, a testament to their adventures, vivid images, each holding a story, their thirst for adventure unquenchable. Greece, the land of myths and ancient wonders. It had long been their dream destination. They envisioned sun-drenched islands, turquoise waters. They imagined capturing the beauty, the history, sharing it with the world through their lens. Their flight landed in Athens. Excitement thrummed through their veins. They were finally here. They picked up their rental car, a sleek silver convertible. The wind whipped through their hair as they drove. They reached their hotel, a charming boutique nestled on a cliffside. The view, breathtaking. The Aegean Sea, a shimmering expanse of blue. This was paradise. They unpacked quickly, eager to explore. Cameras in hand, they set off, ready to chase the light and weave their Greek adventure. Little did they know this journey would be different. Their first stop, the Acropolis. It was more magnificent than they could have imagined. The weight of history pressed down on them. John positioned his tripod, his eyes scanning the scene. He searched for the perfect composition, the perfect angle to capture the grandeur. Alex wandered through the ruins. Her fingers traced the weathered marble. Click, click. The sound of the camera shutter echoed through the empty amphitheater. They were lost in their work, oblivious to the world around them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a chill settled in the air. John and Alex felt a shiver run down their spines. The next day, they ventured into the Peloponnese region. The site buzzed with tourists, their voices echoing John and Alex's awe. They walked among the ruins of temples dedicated to Zeus and Hera. They climbed the steep slopes of Mount Olympus, the mythical home of the gods. The air grew thinner, cooler as they ascended. Whispers that sounded like screams. John and Alex exchanged uneasy glances. They reached a secluded clearing. Ancient trees, gnarled and twisted, formed a canopy overhead. A sense of foreboding descended upon them. Suddenly, something darted through the trees. Alex gasped, her hand flying to her chest. John turned, his eyes scanning the woods. It was probably just a bird, he said, his voice lacking conviction. But deep down he felt it too. They pressed on, their unease growing with each passing moment. They arrived at Delphi, seeking wisdom from the ancient oracle. As they stood before the temple of Apollo, a sudden gust of wind swirled around them. Papers flew from Alex's grasp, scattered by the unexpected force. He picked up a stray sheet, his blood turning to ice. Lying on the ancient stone path, nestled among the scattered papers, was a single feather. It was long and black, sharp as a razor. John quickly hid the feather, not wanting to alarm Alex. But as he looked at her pale face, he knew she had felt it too. The undeniable presence of something dark and dangerous, something that was watching them. John tried to shake off the unease. He told himself it was just a bird, just the wind. He needed to be rational. This was Greece, land of myth and legend. They continued their journey. Each day, the feeling of being watched intensified. Whispers followed them on the wind. faint, unsettling sounds. They started seeing things, fleeting shadows flitting past ancient ruins, glowing eyes peering at them from dark forests. Every time they turned to look, there was nothing there. John tried to reassure Alex, but he couldn't shake the fear that clawed at his own throat. Their dream vacation had become a nightmare, and they were trapped in a myth they didn't understand. Sleep offered no escape. Nightmares plagued them. Visions of grotesque bird-like creatures with razor-sharp claws. They tried to seek help, but who would believe them? They were tourists. Their fears, easily dismissed as an overactive imagination. Their once bright adventure had turned dark. The beauty of Greece now tainted with terror. They knew they had to escape. They had to get off the mainland, find someplace safe. But where could they go? The creatures seemed to be everywhere, watching them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They were living on borrowed time. They packed their bags, their hands shaking. Each sound from the hallway sent them scrambling to hide. They slipped out of the hotel in the dead of night. The rental car, their only sanctuary in this waking nightmare. As they drove, John noticed something in the rearview mirror. 3 pairs of eyes, glowing with an unnatural light. "They're here," he whispered, his voice tight with terror. Emily turned to look back, her breath caught in her throat. There, silhouetted against the rising moon, were 3 grotesque figures, their bodies a twisted mockery of women, and from their backs sprouted massive feathered wings. They were being hunted. The harpies, creatures of Greek myth, said to snatch away the souls of the dead. John slammed his foot on the accelerator. The car surged forward, engine roaring. Emily screamed, her voice raw with terror. The harpies were gaining on them. The creatures swooped down. Their claws, like talons, raked the trunk of the car. Metal screeched, sparks flew. He spotted a dirt road branching off into the darkness. He swerved sharply, sending the car careening down the uneven path. Trees whipped past the windows, their branches scraping against the metal. The harpies screeched in frustration as they struggled to follow. They had to lose them, but where could they go? The dirt road seemed endless. It twisted and turned through the darkness. The car bounced and jolted over the rough terrain. The headlights flickered, threatening to plunge them into complete darkness. Emily was huddled in the passenger seat, her eyes wide with terror. She clutched the black feather, her only tangible connection to the nightmare they were living. The car sputtered, the engine coughed. They were out of gas. He steered the car to a stop on the side of the road. The headlights flickered once more and then died. They were stranded, alone, and the harpies were closing in. The screeching started again, closer now. No signal. John fumbled for his phone. Suddenly, a light appeared in the distance, a faint, flickering glow through the trees. "Come on, Emily, let's go." Without a word, John and Emily scrambled out of the car. They ran towards the light. The harpies' shrieks echoed behind them, urging them on. They burst through the trees and into a clearing. The light was coming from a small stone chapel. Its windows glowed with a warm, inviting light. It looked ancient, a sanctuary. They didn't hesitate. John and Emily threw open the heavy wooden doors and stumbled inside. The chapel was small, a single room lit by flickering candles. I've got to secure the door. John slammed the door shut behind them, the sound echoing through the silence. He fumbled for the latch, his hands shaking. He found it, ancient and rusted, and secured the door as best he could. The harpy's screeches grew louder, closer. John, what do we do now? Emily sank to her knees. The black feather slipped from her grasp, falling onto the cold stone floor. The windows, they're all boarded up. John moved to the nearest window, boarded up. He turned back to Emily. They always did. The screeching stopped. An unsettling silence descended. John and Emily held their breath, listening for any sound. A voice echoed in the darkness, ancient, raspy, whispering from the very walls of the chapel. It spoke in a language they didn't understand, but its tone was unmistakable, threatening, demanding. The air grew colder. The candles flickered, their flames turning a sickly green. A presence filled the chapel.
The feather, a gift, a price for your passage.
But at what cost? John looked at the black feather lying on the floor. He retrieved it, feeling a strange energy emanating from it. It was warm, almost hot, pulsing with an unseen power. What do we have to do? John asked, his voice barely a whisper. The chapel held its breath, waiting for the answer.
The feather will show you the way, but the path is perilous, and the price of your freedom is a sacrifice.
The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken threat. John and Emily exchanged a look. They knew the risks, but what choice did they have? They were already in too deep. They had to make a deal. The black feather pulsed with an eerie light, illuminating a hidden passage behind the altar. A narrow tunnel, shrouded in mist, beckoned them forward. The voice whispered again, a chilling reminder.
One soul for safe passage.
Their escape demanded a sacrifice, a life for a life. John and Emily exchanged a look, their faces etched with fear and resignation. There was no escaping this bargain. They both knew what they had to do. John, ever the protector, stepped forward. Take me, let Emily go free. A cold wind swept through the chapel, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. Emily cried out, reaching for John, but he was gone, vanished into thin air, swallowed by the shadows. Only the black feather remained, lying on the cold stone floor, its light extinguished. Emily crumpled to the ground, her body racked with sobs. John was gone, taken by the creatures of this cursed land, and she was alone, truly alone. She wanted to stay, to grieve, but something within her, perhaps John's last act of love, urged her towards the hidden passage. Her survival depended on his sacrifice. She picked up the feather, a cold reminder of their bargain, and stepped into the darkness. The tunnel led her through a labyrinth of ancient catacombs, the air thick with the stench of death and decay. Emily stumbled through the darkness, guided only by a faint light emanating from the feather in her hand. The harpy's screeches echoed behind her, a constant reminder of their pursuit. After what felt like an eternity, she emerged into the cool night air. She found herself on a deserted beach, the waves crashing against the shore. The first rays of dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and orange, a stark contrast to the horrors she'd witnessed. She had made it. She was free, but her heart was heavy with grief and a profound sense of loss. Greece, once a symbol of their shared dreams, was now forever tainted with John's memory, a constant reminder of the nightmare they had lived and the sacrifice he had made. Emily left Greece a changed person, the carefree joy of their travels replaced with a haunting sadness. She continued to take pictures, each click of the shutter a tribute to John, a way to keep his memory alive. Her photographs, once vibrant and full of life, now possessed a somber beauty, a depth that spoke of loss and resilience. They were a testament to their love, their adventure, and the harrowing price of freedom. She carried the black feather with her, a dark souvenir of their terrifying Greek vacation, a constant reminder that some places are best left unexplored and some myths are better left undisturbed.